hyper63 is an open source project. It's a service and a company. But to get to the problem that hyper63 is trying to solve, we look at, here it's 2021, there's over 40 million developers on GitHub. That's amazing. And, there is a real cost to development. So when you have an idea and you want to put that out into the world, there is a cost to build that, maintain that, provide documentation for that, et cetera. And one of the challenges is that, about half of the time that developers spend building that product, creating applications, is really spent on maintenance, bugs, and just the constant kind of upkeep of your product. And through the years, I've seen that be a real challenge over time. As a product gets successful, you're wanting to keep more and more new features coming out, continue to innovate, but you also have this lull or this challenge in productivity because of the complexity. And really, hyper63 is part of that solution. It's helping development teams, really separate their business logic or their secret sauce in an application from, kind of the general services, like a database or a caching solution or a search solution. Really, hyper63's goal is to create this boundary so that separation, basically, you're focused on providing business value and solving the business problem without thinking about, kind of the moving parts. And I think that's a really important and valuable add for developer happiness, but also the business, because they're able to move faster and basically create a better quality product, and the developers are able to focus on constantly innovating on that product. So this is a demo, a little tour of hyper63. Hyper63's tour repo is on GitHub, and you can look at this repo and actually follow along on this tour on your own. But for today, just because I have a couple of minutes of time, I'm just going to go through a couple of features of hyper63, specifically the data and the search. So every application needs to store structured data. And instead of making a decision whether you want to use MySQL or Postgres or MongoDB, what hyper63 does is removes that decision from you. You just connect to a data service and you give it your database name, in this case, OpenSource 101-movie, and then you just run a put to that. And so we're going to do that. And when we hit save, we're going to get OK true, and our database is created. So now we can add some documents to that without setting up tables or doing migrations. We just post a document to that database, and we can just run post with /data and the name of our database and give it a document. In this case, we're going to use Ghostbusters. And Ghostbusters is just a document object with a title, a year, and a genre. So we'll just hit save, and we'll see that that's saved to our database. We'll go ahead and add a couple more. We'll add Groundhog Day. We just had Groundhog Day, by the way. That was a fun movie. If you've never seen that movie, I definitely recommend it. And then we'll add Avengers. Another great movie. So we've added a couple of documents to our database, and we can see those documents by just doing a get on our database. And that should show all the documents that we have, nice and easy. And we can pull just the document array by just adding docs to the end of that, and now build a search index. So instead of going and building up a search cluster using Elasticsearch or Kendra or any other search project, we've got that built in. And again, it's an abstraction away. So to build a search engine in Hyper63, it's just another put. We just add a put, and instead of data, we specify search. And there's one piece we have to add to it that I always forget, is we got to tell it what fields we want to search on. So we do fields, and we'll say title and year. And now we've got our search database, and we can go and just add some documents to it. So we're going to do await, and to add documents, we'll do a post, and we'll say search. And then we're going to add to our REST endpoint a command _bulk. And this is just going to say, you know what, we want to put more than one document in the database or the search index right now. So we're going to add our docs, and we need to get those docs. So we'll uncomment out this command here, and we get the docs. And now we should add those docs to our search index. And then the last piece is we want to be able to search by giving it some text. So we just call a query command on our search index. So await post search, and then / query. And then we pass in an object. In that object, we have a query property, and we'll say Ghostbusters. And once we save that, we get a search back and matches, and it's a search engine, so it'll give us a score of the relevancy for each match. And just to make sure that everything works, we can also search on year as well and get that back. So that's a short demo. I hope you can kind of see, really one of the core design goals is just simplicity and the ability to keep your business rules, business logic separate from implementation. So you don't have to care if that is Google behind the scenes, Kendra, or Elasticsearch. You're just wanting your app to be able to search. As far as the types of things we can do, the services, we provide Hyper63 as a service, but it's also an open source product. So you can pull the source code down and run in your own infrastructure on your own cloud. And we can work with you to do that, to build adapters to, specific, services that you may use or prefer to use with Hyper63. Again, there's several ways that we can work with you to what I like to say, future-proof your product, right? So build the components so that you can make the right decision now, but also have the opportunity to make another decision in the future on how to scale and grow your product without losing or having to rewrite all of those business rules. You can reach me at my email, tom@hyper63.com. Also, I'm at twilson63 on Twitter. And we have a repository on GitHub under Hyper63. And then our website, hyper63.com, are great ways to get in touch with us. My name's Tom Wilson. I'm the founder and CEO of Hyper63. And as Todd said, I've been in the technology community and the technology space for over 25 years. And really been primarily in healthcare, but also a lot since 2007 in open source. And building and sharing and contributing open source projects to not only better the companies that I have worked for, but also better the community around us, especially in the South Carolina community, by running meetups and hosting events and collaborating with others. Got a very strong passion for sharing, and I think open source at the end of the day is all about sharing to get better, and very excited to do that.